Hey, everybody. Welcome to VerifiedInvesting.com. My name is Gareth Soloway, Chief Market Strategist here. Now, in today's video, we need to dive into the chart of Bitcoin. Bitcoin is on the move, a big surge following Jerome Powell's much more dovish tone than the market had feared. All right, so recapping this, right? We had Jerome Powell speaking from Jackson Hole, 10 a.m. Friday morning. And basically what Jerome Powell said was that the labor market weakness does warrant rate cuts. So we saw the Fed watch tool going from 2 rate cuts expected to 2 rate cuts, but the odds of a September rate cut went up to 90% from 70%. And I think the market had been over the last few days, we've seen Bitcoin trading down, we've seen the stock market trading down going into this. Investors were nervous he was going to come out and shut down rate cuts as even an option. And now he's basically saying, yes, it does warrant rate cuts because of labor market weakness. So let's know that. Now let's dive into the charts. Taking a look at Bitcoin, the day today, what a great move on Bitcoin, surging from a low of around 111,800 all the way up to 117,000. Now, this should not be a surprise to any of us, and I'm going to tell you why. Basically, if you've been watching my trading game plans, which are on the Verified Investing YouTube, we know that we were coming into the key pivot low right here. Well, look at that. Low pivot, there's support. Now, having said that, we also have to understand that even this bounce is not making Bitcoin in the near term bullish, right? Now, why do I say that? Because essentially what we have here, and I'm going to change the color of this to orange so it really pops out, you have this upsloping trend from April, from the beginning of April 2025, that connects through the low in June of 2025 to this low here in August, and then we broke down. And so it's very common when you get a breakdown in any chart, doesn't matter if it's a stock, commodity, or crypto, that you go down to your first support and then you get the bounce, right? Buy the dippers come in. The problem is, and this is what I'll be watching as a party that is monitoring the move on Bitcoin, is do we get rejected right here? Technically speaking, we closed below, we confirmed, this now becomes major resistance. So if you're someone who is long Bitcoin and cares about it in the near term, you need to see Bitcoin break back above the 118,000 level, close there, and confirm. If that happens, you can then revisit your double top highs right here at 123,000 and change. All right. Classic double top. I'm going to actually flip that back to yellow just to note again, support level and resistance level up here. But really, this is the level you are watching as a near-term Bitcoin investor or trader. That is the point of contention that should be resistance. And this is, again, what is this called, folks? I've taught you guys, if you followed me for months or years, a retrace to the scene of the crime. Why is it called the scene of the crime? Because this is the trend line, or essentially the jail wall, right? So this is the prison wall, this trend line. And you can see we went to the wall, got rejected. Went to the wall, got rejected. Went to the wall, got rejected. The scene of the crime is where you break through that wall and now you retrace. Very common for charts to retrace. The difference is this was support here, and here. It is now going to be major resistance. And so again, it's not to say that Bitcoin can't get through this level. It can get through this level, but it should be resistance and probability, which is everything about technical analysis, is what is the most probable outcome, is that it should get rejected there. Okay, so again, now it doesn't mean it has to be rejected. Remember, probability in this case is about a 75% chance that it gets rejected there. That still leaves 25% that it pushes through and confirms above. That's fine. But if you're, again, looking for what is the probable level, the trading level, it's to short Bitcoin at the 118,000 level should it hit. Very interesting stuff, guys, when we get into the charts and the technical analysis. All right, so that's where we are at this point. Great bounce on Bitcoin. It's very close. We got to about 117,000. I could see over the weekend us knocking on this door of 118,000. And then that is where, whether you're a bull or a bear, you are watching closely, folks, because, again, we have to see what happens in that scenario. All right, so I wanted to get you guys this quick update on Bitcoin. I know there's a lot of Bitcoin fans out there. Remember, shorter term, I follow the charts and the probabilities. Longer term, I look at the big scale, and I am very bullish on Bitcoin longer term because, again, governments around the world continue to print money. We're going to see rates coming down as the global economy weakens. All of those favor Bitcoin over the longer term, going much, much higher. But short term here, the scene of the crime is favoring rejection. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate all your comments, your kind words. Much appreciated. Thank you so much for following me and essentially being members and subscribers. Take care.